Hi, everyone. This is Brian Amrine with Value Driven Analytics, talking to you today about an extremely important decision that many analytics leaders have to make. And that is, should I go with a centralized analytics team or more of a stakeholder model? And it's an important question because the consequences are very, very important. On the one side, you could end up with an analytics team that perhaps spends a lot of time constantly prioritizing between different departments that they support. Sales, or should I work on marketing analysis, or should I work on operations analysis? All the different teams constantly struggling for bandwidth. On the other side, you could end up with a model that's very siloed, where work is often duplicated and where analysts perhaps aren't as engaged. So it's an extremely important question. Now, I've been an analyst and a leader in both a centralized model and a stakeholder model, and I'm very confident in the answer I'm about to give you. So are you ready for the answer? Which one is better, a centralized model or a stakeholder model? All right, here's the answer. Both. No, that's not a cop-out answer that, hey, there's pros and cons. There's certainly pros and cons. But the answer is both. It's a more complicated answer than just one or the other. So let me tell you what I mean by that. One model that I would not recommend is a pure stakeholder model. So marketing analysts report up to marketing, and sales analysts report up to sales, and operations analysts report into operations. You get the idea. That's where the silos come in, right? That's where sometimes there's a fine line. It's not very clear where a certain analysis would fall. And so both teams will perhaps pursue it. And maybe you like the competition aspect of it, but it's not efficient. It's two teams working on the same thing, and you generally want to avoid that. There's also the silos, and so teams aren't cooperating and learning from each other as much. You might think, well, the teams are all at the same organization, the marketing analysts and the sales analysts, so they're going to collaborate, right? No, in practice, there is just a natural barrier between teams. Teams, when analysts are on the same team, they tend to cooperate really well and do peer review and teach each other new techniques, but that doesn't seem to happen as much when you're on completely different teams. So I'm not a fan of the pure stakeholder model. But then on the other side, a pure centralized analytics team where maybe you have someone who leads that team and then a whole bunch of analysts on that team, and an analyst maybe works on a project for sales one day, then marketing the next day, and operations. They are not segmented. They're not assigned to one stakeholder versus another. You might look at that and think, well, that's kind of neat from an analytics engagement perspective. You're getting to work on lots of different things. Yes, that is true. And you can also accomplish that from a stakeholder model too by rotating analysts every 6 or 12 or 18 months. So you don't necessarily lose that engagement benefit that you would get in a centralized model by getting to work on a variety of things. If you go with a somewhat stakeholder model, because you can rotate analysts. The other nice thing about a centralized model is it facilitates engagement. Analysts love being around other analysts. I've actually interviewed people in the past that were looking for a new company because they were on a team at a company with plenty of analysts at the company. So there were sales analysts or marketing analysts that they could interact with, but they were on a team where they were the only analyst, and they didn't feel like they were learning as much, so they were looking for a new role. So analytics engagement tends to be higher when analysts are on an analyst team. Okay, but the biggest downside of a centralized model is you're supporting sales, you're supporting marketing, operations, lots of teams. And those teams, oftentimes analytics teams, have more demand than they have time to satisfy those requests. And so if an analyst isn't assigned to a specific area, you're going to constantly be fighting battles between sales and marketing. Well, I want all of these projects, and I don't understand why they can't all get done. Well, this team's also requesting a lot of things. Well, I think you should work on the high value projects that I have. Well, no, mine are higher value. You're constantly dealing with prioritization challenges. The centralized model sounds nice in practice, but in reality, it just doesn't pan out. So, what's the both model, right? What do I mean by both is the optimal model? Well, there's a concept called a lot of people call it a center of excellence model, where you do bring all of your analysts under one organization. That's a good thing. You get the benefits of the engagement. Now all the analysts are working together, sharing best practices. You don't have the duplication of work that sometimes competing analytics teams have in a pure stakeholder model. So everybody's under one organization. That's the centralized aspect of it. But the analyst on that analytics center of excellence, each one is assigned to a specific stakeholder. So sales management knows here's the analyst or analyst that work on sales projects. I can prioritize their time in the way that I need to, in the way that's most important to me. And someone has determined that I get 1, 2, 3, however many analysts sales has. And then marketing has their dedicated analyst, like a stakeholder model, on that same analytics center of excellence. There are marketing analysts that are dedicated to marketing. But all the analysts, the sales analysts, the marketing analysts, the operations analysts, they're all on one team, learning from each other, sharing best practices. And because they're assigned to stakeholders, those prioritization challenges that you'd have if it was a pure centralized ones, anyone works on anything on any given day, that disappears. Organizations know this is the amount of analytics bandwidth I have. I have 2 analysts that I work with. And I've just recorded a video on prioritization techniques that works extremely well when an organization has analysts assigned to specific stakeholders. So I hope that's helpful. If you're looking to design or redesign an analytics organization, I highly recommend designing it as an analytics center of excellence. Bring all of your analysts into one organization, but assign each one of them to specific stakeholders, and you are going to see an analytics team that efficiently drives success at your organization. Now, if you'd like more advice on how to structure your analytics team and make the most of your analytics resources, we have several services at Value Driven Analytics that can help you with that. And our flagship service is Analytics Transformation. So if you're looking to take your analytics organization to the next level of analytics maturity, please contact us and we'd love to consult you on team structure, the tools that you use, how you use them, analytics engagement techniques, and more. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next video.